Hey everyone. Greetings, welcome, namaste. If you're hanging out right now with me, you are here for some lunch break yoga. So lunch break yoga is essentially it's about a 30-minute long practice. So it is a much shorter practice than we're used to in person in studios. This makes it sometimes a little bit easier to go about your day, especially if you have a Monday through Friday. Um, if you do have a lunch break in the day and you have an area where you can really focus on yourself this way, then this is a pretty solid amount of time to do that. And try to make sure that every one of our lunch breaks focuses on something in particular. This video is specifically geared towards neck and shoulders, okay? So we'll be doing some stretches, movements, some yoga postures that really center on neck and shoulder area. What will you need to do these things? I usually recommend a blanket, maybe 2 blocks, or something that could serve as a stand-in for those things, okay? Body, comfortable outfit, safe area. Those are great props too. When you're ready, I would invite you, as far as this practice goes, to meet me starting on your seat. I have crossed legs. I'm in that Sukhasana posture, spine lengthening upward, knees releasing to gravity, shoulders dropping away from the ears to the best of my ability, right? That might change from the beginning of this practice to the end. We'll see. Hands go to a place where they can just chill out and be hands. I soften at the belly and make sure that I'm sitting on my seat. So I feel those 2 sits bones as I wobble side to side. I feel rooted. I feel held. Things have gotten a little quieter, so I can notice my breath a little bit easier. I'm noticing how I feel. I noticed a swallow. I noticed the sounds in the room. I noticed that even though I'm in a relatively cool room right now, I'm a little warm. I couldn't tell you if that's nerves, moving too much before this, anticipation of the next thing. Whatever it is, that's what I sense right now. That's what I'm inviting you to do. And sure, check in on the breath. See if maybe you're clenching somewhere you don't need to be. I don't really know anywhere that you would need to be clenching right now. Eyes can close down if they aren't already. And on purpose here, shift your attention to just breath. Just one breath. I don't care where it is or how it is, just one breath. You can stay in this posture, eyes closed down, or as I do in person classes, or in my in-person classes, you can get weird with me. And I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to place my hands sort of over my shoulders, kind of like I'm giving myself a little shoulder massage. And if I wanted to sneak one of those in there, maybe I would. Right? I don't know how stiff, tense, or sore you are, but I'm just kind of settling my hands there. You know, there's a little bit of grip, but not much. And I'm noticing, okay, this is the area that I'm going to be working. And like I do in most classes, I'm inviting you here, eyes opened or closed, silently or out loud if you're alone, or if you live with some cool people. I want you to say, shoulders, neck, I love you. There are parts in our body, sometimes the whole thing, it forgets this, it needs reminding, or it might not believe this. So offering those words, that sentiment, Maybe just sort of letting that idea settle around that area. Neck, shoulders, I love you. I feel the warmth of my hands against this area. And then if it feels okay, unless I've sort of found a sweet spot here and I want to chill out, I'm going to bring my hands like prayer, thumbs in close, and I might set an intention for this practice. My intention for this practice is sort of a carryover from 2022. It's simply, this is my prayer for being where I am. If I start to leave my mat, if I start to daydream or worry or anything, I'll conjure that idea, that prayer, that intention. I'll bring those words back to mind. This is my prayer for being where I am. Eyes can blink open if they aren't already. Drop your hands to the lap. Lift the chest just a little and begin to roll out the shoulders intentionally. Here's where you're just kind of getting the fluids moving, right? It doesn't need to look a certain way ever, okay? It doesn't need to feel a certain way. These can just be sort of shoulder shrugs. These can be big circles in one direction and then the other direction. They can be one at a time shrugs. They can be back and forward shrugs, whatever. Just find a little bit of organic movement, okay? You can stay put, doing what you're doing, or you can drop the shoulders down again. This time, really focusing on dropping them far away from the earlobes. Hands, palms face down, closer to the knees. If at any point you need to switch an ankle in front of the other, okay? Stay connected to your body, the whole thing. Okay, I'm going to draw the shoulders down, and I'm going to drop my chin as close to my chest as I can, right? My gaze shifts downward, all the while keeping the shoulders down, chest broad, spine long. Breathe. I've been doing lots of neck and shoulder positions, stretches, sequences in my in-person classes, and whew, buddy, my neck has been feeling the burn. So go gentle on yourself. I sort of shimmy at the shoulders a little, and then I draw them back again. Inhale, safely lift that head, letting the head lean back a little. The nose points upwards, and then I'm gonna let my chin just kind of hang while my nose points up, and then I'm gonna just play with head stays leaning back, heart stays open, but I close and open the mouth. So teeth touch, and then they separate. Touch, separate. Pulling that low belly in a little for safety's sake. I come back to center, back to neutral. Settle for a moment. And then I draw some little circles with my nose. I take about 5 in one direction, 5 in the other. These can be bigger circles if you like. Again, whatever feels good and right. Maybe you just need a whole bunch in one direction. Maybe you need to move slower, or you don't need all that. You just kind of want a little bit of yes and no with the head, right? Waking it up, if nothing else. You might even feel some creaking and cracking. And be safe. Oh, now on purpose, switch ankles. Bring the other leg in front. Last thing we're going to do on our seat for a little bit. I want you to bring hands closer to the knees, right? Put them back where they were. And I want us to do a little cat-cow focusing on the upper back, really focusing on the thoracic spine. So I'm going to sit to the side just so you can kind of see my back a little bit more. Okay, you can stay put. If you need a little extra support under your seat, I have a blanket. You can throw a block or two under there, maybe a bolster. So what I mean is cat-cow is you're finding all that lengthening and flexion. You see how I have like the expansion, big C shape. Feel free to do that if it feels good. I want to keep that sort of isolated from sort of the shoulder area up. So what that means is From mid-back, back ribs down, I kind of stay put. And I just kind of draw the shoulders back, puff my chest forward, look up. And then I just round it out at the shoulders, and I drop my chin to my chest. So I just sort of lift and look up like, what was that? And then I close in, and I'm like, never mind. Just a few more. Careful, careful. If you want to make this a little bit bigger and draw in, the entire cat-cow, by entire, I mean working the whole spine into it, you can. It's just I'm choosing, right, for the purpose of this class, to keep this at the shoulders, the neck. Maybe just a few more. And it might feel kind of funky. Like if you're not used to this sort of movement and isolating cat-cow this way, it can be weird. One more. My hands are kind of moving at my knees, just FYI. They're not staying still the entire time. All right, relax. Maybe go from here to kind of slouchy for a moment, okay? Reach your arms up, look up. And I know I said that was the last thing. I do that. I've been doing that since day one on the job, y'all, right? Press hands together like prayer hands and just lean to the right, nothing cuckoo. Look up, right? I'm looking up towards that left tricep. I come back to the center. I lean to the left. I draw that right arm back a little. I look up towards the ceiling beyond the right tricep. I bring it back in. I really press the palms in together. So I'm feeling this in my shoulders, my upper arms as I pull prayer hands down to my heart. So strong, 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 strong. Push into the palms here. Push. Like my hands are shaking. Push, and then let it go. So lengthen your legs out. Pedal them out a little bit if you need to. So just because I don't want us to walk out of here, upside down, I got to kind of bring the lower half of our body into the mix too. These next movements we're going to work on are going to be done in some supported low lunges. So I always say, for lunges, you need to sort of make the call what support you need. Now, sometimes I need this blanket under my knees, okay? If I start to bear weight down, I stand to the knees and I bear weight and I'm like, whoo, yeah, that right knee feels like it's going to shatter into a million pieces. Okay, well then I need a blanket. Maybe not, or maybe it's making me feel a little wobbly if I have it there, so I move it out of the way. Maybe you need 2 blankets, 3 blankets, a knee pad, whatever. I almost always utilize the blocks here because I like to bring the floor up to me. So I'm going to put my blocks up here, and I'm putting them or placing them kind of the tall way, all right? And I'm going to step my knees back a little, and I'm going to draw, it doesn't care if I got to grab for it, my right leg forward for this kind of short lunge. Now by short lunge, I mean I don't really have a lot of space between the front heel and the back knee. So there's my right heel's up here, but it's not a very, not a long distance to that left knee. Now I can kind of go, all right, yes, I do need a blanket. Or, nah, this is cool. Or, I need to scooch this foot up a little bit. Or, I need to scooch it over. Especially if you come into a lunge and this is how you feel. Let me try like this. Like, oh God, like you can't breathe. And it feels like you're being, smushed under something. Okay, well, 1, you need blocks. 2, maybe scooch that foot over and bring the right arm inside. Okay? Now I'm finding a lunge to where if I ask you to lift out of it and focus on core and arms and shoulders and neck, you feel safe to do so. So for me, I scooch my right foot in a little, but I'm still on 2 planes. So my feet, my legs, it's more like I'm on skis, not on a tightrope, okay? I'm gonna put my blocks up here just in case, all right? And I'm gonna start to lift. Now again, this is a shorter lunge for me. I've got my longer legs. It might feel too spacious, too much space. So you might scooch the foot in or crawl forward. This back leg, sometimes I have the toes tucked if that's too much pressure. Sometimes it's fine. So the first thing I want to do is I want to establish, okay, this lunge is safe. I'm not in love with it, but it's safe. Then I want to pull the right hip in. I want to broaden at the chest, puff it forward more. My hands are at the low of my back. I sink forward. Oh, I'm squeezing the inner thighs in a little, and I look up. Oh. Now I'm going to bring my hands back towards that front knee, okay? And I'm going to reach my arms for the sky. So from here, keeping my right butt cheek pulled in, squeezing the inner thighs, I'm going to pull my arms down, cactus arms, spread my fingers. Now I want to, once again, lean back. I'm going to draw the elbows with me. The chest opens up, look up. And then I reach back for the ceiling, Anjaneyasana. And do this 2 more times. Bend, puff the chest, lean forward, and arms back up. If at any point you need a break, you do it. 1 more. Pressing through that front foot, I push the right knee forward, but I lean back, and then I open up. Find blocks. Step back with the blocks. As you do, I'm letting my butt sort of sink back towards this back heel. I'm going to turn the toes of this right foot up as I straighten out the right leg. And I come into a reverse lunge for all of maybe 2 breaths. Seat sinks. Heart lifts. I feel support under the hands. Breathe. If you're locking that jaw, right, let it go. And then I'm going to come forward. I'm going to place these blocks here, kind of still use them for support. Scooch my little leg in, and I'm going to sit back on my ankles for kneeling. I regroup. Now, if this doesn't work, sit on your butt, crisscross applesauce for a moment. Relax the shoulders, check the neck. Now, you're always welcome through this practice. Yes, it's about 30 minutes, but if you ever need to pause it, take a break or a drink or whatever, that's the cool thing about these videos. You can come right back in. I'll still be here. So I took a moment. I'm good. All right, I'm going to try the other side. So I lift up. My hands find the blocks. Yours can find the mat. I bring my left leg forward. Okay. I'm going to check out this back leg. Okay. That knee doesn't feel awesome, but it doesn't feel like it really needs the support. Front foot, I scooch the left foot over to the left side a little. If all my guts are sort of falling out here, right, I want to engage the pelvic floor. I want to pull this left hip in, right, to the socket. I want to lean forward and really open up that right side. Yeah, neck and shoulders, but yeah, we got to show the whole thing some love. I come here. Can I get real sassy? Hands to the hips, low of the back. I even kind of use the thumbs to press into the low of the back as I draw my elbows back and I lean back with my head. Then I pull it in just a little, arms reach high. I kind of sink forward again, but I'm still kind of squeezing the inner thighs in. Hands, I turned them on, right? I'm going to bend the elbows, draw them back, sink back. Now you stay put. I'm going to turn to you so you can see. So again, I'm here, right? But I'm going to cactus. Elbows back, hands on, chest opens, head drops. And then I reach forward, sweep the arms up. I check in, taking breaks if I need them. Last one. And then back up. Check in. Meet me in kneeling. Now again, if kneeling for you is a no-go, well, one thing you can do is slap a block under your tush. If I'm being honest, that feels better. You can put that blanket under there too, or under the knees, or whatever. So we're going to work shoulders just a little bit here. But again, this can be a lot of work for your knees, ankles, low back, whatever. So if this does not feel like a stable base, or doesn't feel supportive, or it's like borderline painful, then you, again, come to crisscross, okay? But I'm finding a way here to root down through support. Sometimes it would be the heels and the ankles. Right now it's more the block. Okay, I catch a breath. And to prepare for this, I'm going to extend my arms out like wings. Spread my fingers. I'm going to find those stop hands. Ooh, those cactus arms we just played around with. But this time I'm going to open like I did in my lunge, but I'm going to close in to the best of my ability. So I squeeze the inner thighs in. I lean back, Oh, I take those elbows with me, and then I'm going to arch the back and bring forearms as close to touch as humanly possible, dropping my chin in my chest. Do this 2 more times. I open. I close. I inhale. I exhale. Now come back to your cactus arms. So you have the option here to do exactly what we just did a few more times, if not like altogether like 5 times, okay? Or you can play around and find eagle arms. Not everybody thinks eagle arms are the coolest thing in the world. That's fine. I don't know if they are, but they're great for your shoulders. So I'm gonna go like I wanna close the forearms together again, okay? And I'm like, ugh. But this time, if it's accessible, I'm gonna take my right arm and I'm gonna bring it under my left elbow. Now you might just have the backs of the hands touching. Then you lift your elbows, and that's great. You might keep, if you've got these floppy noodle arms and legs like I have, you might keep twisting and the hands twist up, then you lift the elbows. What I don't want you to do is get real dumpy and just kind of be like, I can't. You got to change something if you can't breathe here and sit up tall. I'm going to lengthen up, relax my shoulders, but lift my elbows. My left fingers, maybe both fingers if I'm touching the backs of the hands together, are reaching for the ceiling, and then I let my gaze follow those lifted fingers. Oh, breathe. One more breath. Now this next inhale, untangle, open up like you want to give somebody a big old bear hug. Oh, you're that somebody. Hug it in. Now go ahead, get kind of slouchy, droopy, and drop the chin. Regroup a little. And then hands drop to the lap. You sit up tall, lengthening back through the spine. Head lifts. I regroup. And if you've got another arm, right, you got 2 arms on there, there being your body, we're going to do the other side, okay? So I'm going to take my arms out like wings again. Bend, cactus arms. I start to bring them in like, oh, now maybe I might keep going, and this is where I stay, okay? Cool. Or I'm going to take that left arm under the right elbow, and either backs of the hands touch, elbows lift, shoulders drop back, I sit up tall, or I keep twisting, okay? I latch on at the hand or closer to the wrist. I squeeze my inner thighs in a little because I'm kneeling, okay? If you're sitting crisscross applesauce, squeeze your low belly in a little. So I have a safe low back, elbows lift, okay? But my shoulders don't. And then my gaze reaches towards my right fingers, looking for those 3 full breaths. One more at your own pace. Keep your elbows lifted. And when you're ready, open it up. This time, open it up. Keep it opened. Wiggle fingers. Clasp your hands behind your back. Pull clasped hands away from your back. You can stay where you are. I'm just showing you side profile. Pull those arms away. Oh, right? Continuing to squeeze the inner thighs, and maybe you lean back, right? And maybe those hands touch down. You puff the chest forward and you let that head drop back. Breathe. Inhale back up, release the spine, hands to the lap, woo doggy. I am definitely warm now, definitely. So we're gonna come off these ankles. If you've been on your seat this whole time, okay, knees or right to the seat, take your legs out in front and just pedal them a little bit. You kind of just windshield wiper, you can creak and pop, spread toes, curl toes, whatever. You can find a little bit extra yes and no at the head. Right, maybe take a little drink of water if you like, whatever. You can windshield wiper those legs side to side. This last little bit here, we are going to do some thread the needle, and then we're going to do a little bit of child's pose, and then that's that. So when you're ready, meet me in all fours. Now, when you come down to all fours, remember, I need to set my space up accordingly. Do I need support under my hands and or knees? If so, take care of business. If I need a little bit of cat-cow here, cool, I would take it. Again, no one's telling you you can't. And it can look however it needs to look to feel how it needs to feel for you. But if you're just like, no, thread the needle, okay, let's try it, right? My left hand scooches in just a little bit closer to the center area of my mat. Okay, my hips stay for the most part over my knees. I reach this right arm up. So the idea here is to get that little bit of twist, or a lot of bit of, right? And then I'm going to take that right arm via the right hand, tuck and reach, and you're going to release onto this right shoulder. Your hips are going to stay lifted, right? My head comes down, and then maybe my left arm comes to the wrapping at the lower of my back. Maybe it comes forward. Maybe it reaches back up, right? Or this left arm reaches this time. Maybe it stays kind of fingertips engaged closer to my face. Okay, wherever you are, make sure that that neck is safe. And I would say maybe spread the fingers on that right hand, right? Really spread. Really release all that weight into that right shoulder. Just a few breaths. Maybe with every exhalation, you sink a little deeper into that right shoulder, into that right arm. Again, if you found the sweet spot, no need to rush. I'm wiggling the fingers on my left hand, softening the fingers on my right, stepping this left hand up again so I can press through it. Option to just untuck and maybe even shake it out, wring it out, or you can reach that arm back up. Option to release the hand and take some cat-cow, or just kind of wiggle and sway side to side. But when you're ready, you got two arms here, two sides here? Let's do it. Right hand rooted, knees under hips. Inhale, I lift and lengthen through this left arm now, and then I'm gonna sweep it, tuck, crawl. And then the left shoulder finds the mat. I turn my left hand to where now it's open to the ceiling. I spread the fingers. I release my head down right to that left temple. And again, maybe that right arm reaches up. Maybe it comes to the low of my back. Maybe it reaches just beyond that left hand, right? Or it helps kind of pull it out just a little more as I lean a little bit deeper into that left shoulder. Maybe it extends forward. I like mine extending forward. Again, it's a matter of preference or just what your body needs in this moment. Couple breaths. Trying to make sure that my clothes don't come off while we're doing this. That would add a whole new dimension to this feeling weird. One more breath. Those right hands crawl up. I press through the right hand. Strong right arm, untuck the left. Maybe it comes up. Maybe I just kind of wring that wrist out. I take a moment. I find all fours. And if I don't need some cat-cow right now, I'm going to yes and no that head. Go, hey, neck. Hey, shoulders. I still love you. My knees will go wide. Big toes touch. I'm going to descend my hips from my heels. I'm going to open the heart, reach those fingers, those arms forward, and sink down, surrender. Child's pose, wide-legged extended. Now, some of us it just doesn't feel great, okay? And if that's you, remember, you can make adjustments. You can make this more accessible, right? We want the yoga to fit our bodies. So maybe you need to stack your forearms here. Rest your forehead upon the forearms. And then let the chest just kind of sink down. Maybe you need to sneak those elbows up right in front of the knees. Plug in through elbows, supported down pretty much through my forearms. And I have the head lifted a little, or I just kind of let it drop a little. Your seat never needs to touch your feet back there. Okay? You can be kind of like this. But can I let the hips drop? Can I let the pelvis fall down a little? Can I soften at the belly? Can I feel a little length through the spine, base of the skull all the way to the tail? And you're looking for just a few breath cycles here. Scan the shoulders. Really release those armpits, right? If it's available to you. One more breath. I always keep my hips drawn back and low, but I lift my head to look forward. Like, what's next, right? You know what's next? Shavasana. Crawl those hands up, come back to one final kneeling posture, if nothing else, to just kind of reorient for a moment and be like, okay, I'm still here. All right, maybe I need a little bit of rolling out at the shoulders, right? Or just kind of yes and no at the head. So for your Shavasana, because this is a shorter practice, I have a shorter Shavasana set. But you are welcome to just come down to Shavasana and stay here as long as you need to. You might need a blanket underneath that head, especially after all the neck work that we did. That might be nice, right, for support. If you have any props for support under the legs for that low back, or maybe if you don't, or you just don't feel like it, step the feet apart and let those knees just kind of gently collapse into each other. Tuck, right, the flesh of the shoulder blades under. Make sure you can release the flesh of the seat. If nothing else, 1 minute where things just settle back in, down, they quiet, they still a bit. I like to find a smile on purpose. I also like to take my hand to sort of the fleshy part of my belly. And this helps me ground by finding or feeling into the breath moving through my body. I'm able to sense that sort of rising on an inhalation and falling on an exhalation. And there's something soothing about that rhythm. Again, you can stay here as long as you need to, as long as you can. You know, if it's a lunch break, you might be like, yeah, I'll stay here for the rest of the day, but I got to clock back in. I blink my eyes open. If I need to, I'd shift and move a little, stretch what needs to stretch, or wiggle or twist. I like to just windshield wiper the knees. You're welcome to release into fetal and then lift to seated. I'm going to hug my knees into my chest, lift my head and take it towards my knees. And I'm going to just rock up crossed ankles into seated. And then once I'm there, right, you're good to go, I'm sure. I'm going to turn so you can see me. So I can kind of offer this gesture of thanks to you. Hands come like prayer hands in front of my chest. Chest is nice and broad. And I kind of notice as I drop these shoulders, do they feel like there's a little bit extra space between the earlobes and the shoulders? I do. Settling through the seat, releasing the knees to gravity, noticing the ankles and the feet. I close the eyes down, I bow a little. I'm bowing to you, right? I'd like you to bow to yourself. So just recognize that you took this time out to care for yourself and that is a huge deal. And namaste.